Hello everybody, sorry about last week when Dan the Astronomy Man had some issues with uploading. It was entirely to do with internet faults, but we should have it all sorted now. So apologies again. Now, as it approaches Christmas, it's the first Friday of December today, so I'm going to be talking about a jolly man in red. No, not Father Christmas. We're going to be talking about the Merc with a mouth. So let's get our guns ready and cue the music, because today we're talking about Deadpool. I'm Geekman and this is Superheroes, physically speaking. Deadpool is a Marvel Comics anti-hero. This means he isn't technically a superhero, even though he kind of is, but it's more to do with the fact that he doesn't play by the rules. He has essentially no moral code whatsoever and doesn't mind killing people. In fact, he does it quite a lot. To be honest, he does it more than the bad guys. In fact, in one comic strip, Deadpool actually killed everything in the entire Marvel Universe and every other Marvel Universe because he came out through the fourth wall and killed the Marvel comic book writers. More on that in a bit. Wade Wilson, Deadpool's real name, was a mercenary with a lot of bad language who was diagnosed with terminal cancer in his brain, lungs, liver and prostate. When the government and all hospitals couldn't help him because of the terminal nature of these cancers, he sought out help from the Weapon X project. The same project you may remember from last month that gave Wolverine his adamantium skeleton. This project, however, didn't give Wade Wilson an adamantium skeleton, oh no. It essentially made him immortal. They had a lot of DNA from all of Wolverine's tests when they'd be working on Logan, on Wolverine, so they fused this essentially with Deadpool, giving him all of Wolverine's powers, except the claws, the almost invulnerability, the ability to heal from anything, which I analysed in great detail last month. So I'm not going to go over those powers, no. Today I'm going to go over some of his weapons of choice, his fourth wall related abilities, and his actual immortality. Let's start with the actual immortality. In the Marvel Comics universe, Death is an actual character, or Lady Death. Thanos, the Mad Titan, who's appeared at the end of multiple Marvel movies, has a bit of a crush on Lady Death. However, it's Deadpool that has an actual relationship with her. And this causes Thanos to be quite jealous, of course. And so he cursed Deadpool to be immortal, meaning he could never die and actually be with Lady Death. This works more on magic, really, and not actual science. There's no scientific reasoning why he can't ever die. In fact, there's many scientific reasonings why he should be able to die, quite easily actually. In fact, in multiple cases, Deadpool has been beheaded and just lived on and continuously talking. He's the Merc with a mouth, after all, even though he's been beheaded. This should be impossible because no longer can he force air up through his vocal cords. His diaphragm and his lungs have been removed, so he can't push air through his trachea past his vocal cords, enabling him to speak. Additionally, he's got no heart anymore, and no lungs, which means there's no blood, no oxygen getting to his brain, which should be rotting by now. He should be very, very dead, scientifically speaking. So really, it's only magic that could possibly keep him alive in these situations, which is an interesting one. Another possibility, though, that does obey some science in some ways, at least reasoning why he would continue living, is the fact that the entire reason Deadpool can heal so fast, or at least as fast as Wolverine, is because he is essentially pure cancer. That's not an insult, that's, well, in the Marvel Comics universe, a fact. Essentially what they did with the Weapon X project was they used Wolverine's DNA to turn all of Deadpool's non-cancer cells essentially into cancer cells, meaning that no matter how far the cancer cells spread, the rest of his body would be able to fight back. Because suddenly his entire body's a cancer, constantly trying to spread to every other part of his body, it's all keeping itself back, holding itself at bay. Which means that even if you had only one drop of Deadpool's blood, as long as it contained a cellular nucleus, he could grow back if you put him in a solution full of proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids. The only issue with that, however, would be he wouldn't remember anything. Ever. Because, as I explained before, I think in my Wolverine video, the pathways in the brain could be destroyed. His memory could be destroyed, and it wouldn't grow back. I explained this in much more detail last month, so please do check that video out. Next, I'm going to talk about his fourth wall breaking abilities, which are also not scientifically possible. Breaking the fourth wall is a reference to theatre, where you'd have a stage with actors on it and 3 walls, one behind them and one to either side. The fourth wall, as it were, would be the space where the curtains could draw, the imaginary barrier separating the actors, the characters' false world from the real world of the audience. If a character came out and started out of that wall and started talking to the audience, or including the audience in their acting, that was breaking the fourth wall, as it were, pushing through this imaginary barrier. Of course, because this is the real world, there is no actual fourth wall. He can't break through it. There's no imaginary barrier for him to break through, so his fourth wall breaking abilities are entirely made up. There is no basis in science to be working on from there. However, it is an interesting thing to think about. Finally, some of his possessions are quite interesting. He has a sack which, rather like Santa's sack, is full of, well, Santa's sack is full of an infinite number of toys. Deadpool's is full of an infinite number of weapons that couldn't possibly fit into that space. Essentially, he has a bag that's like the TARDIS. Now, there are some grounds in science behind it. For example, the explanation given in Doctor Who for how the TARDIS can be larger on the inside is that it's pushing through into another dimension. Think about it like this. If you have an entirely two-dimensional universe, a flat piece of paper, and you have a little blue box outlined on it, and behind that piece of paper you put another 2D piece of paper at 90 degrees to it, so it's sticking out, making a T shape if you look at it in cross-section. At this point, you could walk from one universal piece of flat paper to another, linked by this box. Neither would take up any space inside of the other. Apply another dimension to that, including one infinitely vast space inside another much smaller space. That's kind of how the TARDIS works. And one theory for how Deadpool's bag could work, even though, let's be honest, again, it's fourth wall related. Deadpool knows he's in a comic book, so he just uses that knowledge to have equipment which couldn't actually exist because it's just made up. So really, overall, Deadpool's powers have little to no grounds in actual science. It's mainly magic and the fact that he's a fictional character. However, he is cool and funny. This was quite a short video, guys, sorry about that. But I'm getting ready for Christmas. There will be another video uploaded in January. We'll be starting Rocky, and we'll be bringing back Rocket for The Big Questions Made Little in January and February. Dan the Astronomy Man will be back with Astronomical by the end of the month. But until then, guys, do keep watching our videos, and I hope to see you all soon. This is the Physics channel. I'm Geekman, and this is Superheroes, physically speaking.